I have here Jasper Joy, they, them, who's a white person living on unceded Cherokee land in Asheville, North Carolina. Hi, Jasper. Welcome to Earth Speaks podcast. I would love to hear, as a magical trans person, what have been some of the biggest challenges you've faced on your spiritual path?
Combining identities has been really hard. So being queer and trans and non-binary and a witch means I navigate a lot of opposition and people telling me I don't exist on multiple levels. Finding access to representation and communities that will support and honor and share all of my identities at once is really challenging. It's better than it was 10 years ago, but it's still really, really hard. And it's even harder to stay in the belief that magic isn't just woo and it can actually make the world better.
Wow, that sounds like that's a lot to carry. What has helped you overcome these challenges?
First, leaving a spiritual teacher who is transphobic helped a lot. I spent several years figuring out how my values work and what it meant to be a witch and trans and writing all of that stuff down. And then eventually I was lucky enough to meet really awesome, big-hearted, queer, magical people. And I got to be in community with them. But what I was not lucky enough to find was like one teacher who was able to replace my previous one. So I was hopping around from workshop to workshop for a long time. And I just started to clear a path for myself.
That's amazing that you were able to find your people. I mean, that's such a gift. And now, how have you been called to help others who are walking this path and facing similar challenges that you faced?
I've created a 6-week course called How to Conjure. It's specifically for trans people and queer people and non-binary people who desire magical practices and magical community for people who might feel alone because they haven't seen themselves represented in witchy spaces before. And folks who really want to be mindful of not causing harm through like appropriation and other microaggressions. In this course, magical folks can show up with any arrangement of queer identities, and they will feel empowered to create community together and discover where their strongest intuitive senses exist and what it looks like to stay dedicated to living a magical practice. I will have students really look at codes of ethics and values and how those show up in magical practices and why it matters. And I really want participants of this class to feel confident that they can consistently use magic for creating more joy and relieving suffering in their communities and outwards, and be able to discern between what we can heal through magic and spirituality versus what we can heal in like a physical, mundane framework because we don't expect magic to fix all of our problems. And this course is not for anyone who has yet to build resilience around feeling the hard stuff and sitting with emotional discomfort or looking for a spiritual teacher who's going to answer all of their questions, because I am not going to do that. And then, and not wanting magic to fix your whole life, but for magic to like empower your life. And it's definitely not for people who are not willing to name their privilege and hold compassion in their heart for others.
Beautiful. Sounds like a really rich experience for people and one that's much needed, a gap that is wide open for people to be seen and heard and held and connected. So thanks for creating that. Where can people go to learn more and to sign up? And when does the first cohort start?
The first one begins March 19th. The second one is March 20th. So there's a Sunday class and a Saturday class. And they can sign up at queerconjure.org and choose from 4 different pay options. I try to be as accessible as possible.
Awesome. So people can go to queerconjure.org and sign up for the How to Conjure course. And of course, get in touch with you with any more questions they might have about it. Awesome. Where can people connect with you on the gram?
I am at Queer Conjure on Instagram, and I refuse to use any other social media because that's enough for me.
I hear you. Amazing. Well, thank you so much for being our sponsor and for doing what you do and for just sharing a little bit about your story today.
Thank you. Thank you so much.